You know, when you think of the ancient world, your mind probably jumps to the pyramids in Egypt, or maybe the ziggurats of Mesopotamia. But what if I told you that one of the most advanced civilizations of the entire Bronze Age built something completely different? Today, we're diving into the Indus Valley, and we're going to find out that the foundations for their incredible cities were laid tens of thousands of years before anyone even thought of stacking bricks. So let's talk about the Indus Valley civilization, because it's truly one of history's great enigmas. Around 2600 BCE, in what's now Pakistan and northwest India, some of the most sophisticated cities on Earth just appeared. They seem to have come out of nowhere. The big question is, how?
And that really is the heart of the mystery, isn't it? I mean, these weren't just a bunch of huts. These were meticulously planned urban centers that were in so many ways centuries ahead of their time.
Just look at the genius of a city like Mohenjo-Daro. We're talking about the world's first known urban sanitation systems. Think about that. While other great civilizations were building massive monuments to their gods and kings, the people of the Indus were engineering complex water and drainage systems for the public. That Great Bath alone points to a society that was deeply focused on community hygiene, a level of sophistication that, honestly, wouldn't be seen again in many parts of the world for thousands of years.
Right. This kind of urban planning, this kind of thinking, it doesn't just happen overnight. It takes generations of knowledge, of trial and error. So to find the real origin story, we need to go back, way, way back.
All right, to really understand the city, we have to rewind the clock. Way back, to the very first human echoes in the stone, long before the first brick of Mohenjo-Daro was ever even fired.
Okay, so we're starting our journey here, at 2600 BCE. This is the peak, the height of the great Indus cities. But this isn't the beginning of the story. Not even close. To find the real foundations, we have to go much, much further back.
And we keep going. Now we've jumped back to 7000 BCE. We've gone past the founding of the first towns, all the way back to the very dawn of agriculture in this part of the world. But even this incredible revolution isn't the true beginning. We need to go deeper.
And here we are, 50,000 BP. That's before present. Yeah, we're so far back in time that we're not counting from year zero anymore. We're counting backwards from today. This is where the human story in the Indus Valley really truly begins.
So who were these first people? Meet the Sawanian culture. These were nomadic hunter-gatherers, the very first people we know of who mastered this landscape. Their legacy wasn't some grand city, no. It was simple but effective, pebble tools. These tools represent the first human footprint in this ancient land.
So how on earth do you get from a simple pebble tool to complex urban planning? Well, the answer, the absolute crucial missing link, was discovered at a site called Mehrgarh.
This timeline just lays it all out perfectly. On one side, you have the Solanian hunter-gatherers. On the other, you have the great cities. And in between, there's this huge gap of tens of thousands of years. Mehrgarh, which pops up around 7000 BCE, is the bridge. It's what connects that incredibly deep past to the urban future.
And that's really what you need to remember. Mehrgarh is the turning point. It's where the fundamental shift happened, from wandering around looking for food to settling down and actually growing it. This one change made everything else possible.
And what a shift it was. At Mehrgarh, we find the first evidence in the entire region of farming and of domesticating animals. People were growing cereals, they were raising livestock, and get this, archaeologists even found evidence of early dentistry there. It was this incredible hub of innovation that laid all the groundwork for a complex society.
Okay, so we've got the foundation laid down, agriculture. Now let's see how that foundation became the literal blueprint for an entire civilization.
It all follows this really clear, logical path. First, Mehrgarh creates the agricultural base. That means food surpluses and people staying in one place. That, in turn, leads to the early Harappan phase, where you start seeing the first towns, trade networks. And that foundation is what allows for the absolute explosion of urban genius in the mature Harappan phase. See? The great cities weren't a miracle. They were the final product of a 4,000-year-long process.
All right, so now that we understand their deep, deep roots, let's go back and look at those cities again and see what made them so unique, especially when you compare them to everybody else around at the time.
And this chart just says it all, doesn't it? While Egypt and Mesopotamia were busy building massive palaces and temples for their god kings, the Indus Valley civilization was focused on practical public infrastructure. We have found no evidence of powerful monarchs or grand royal tombs. Their priorities were just different.
And this quote really gets to the heart of it. Everything from that great bath to the citywide sewer systems points to a society that valued the collective good, cleanliness, and public well-being above almost anything else.
And that right there is the big idea. The greatest monuments of the Indus Valley weren't built for gods or for kings. They were built for the citizens themselves. Their genius wasn't in royal glory, but in a practical, sophisticated design that created a high standard of living for everybody.
And that leaves us with a pretty profound question. In our own time, as we try to figure out sustainable urban design and public health, what can we learn from this 4,500-year-old blueprint? It's a powerful legacy from a civilization that chose to invest not in palaces, but in people. A story that began, believe it or not, with a simple pebble tool 50,000 years ago.